When my brother Liam died, the world tilted off its axis. It happened suddenly, a car accident on a rain-slicked road. One moment he was here, the next he was gone, leaving a void that swallowed me whole. The funeral was a haze of black attire and muted voices, the scent of lilies overpowering in the small chapel. I stood by his casket, numb, unable to reconcile the lifeless form with the vibrant person who had been my other half. Returning to our shared apartment was worse. Every corner echoed with memories. The worn couch where we'd binge-watch shows, the kitchen where he'd attempt elaborate recipes, his laughter still lingering in the air. His room remained untouched, a silent shrine to a life abruptly halted. I couldn't bring myself to sort through his belongings. It felt like erasing his existence. Days blurred together. I went through the motions: work, eat, sleep, but felt disconnected, as if watching someone else live my life. Friends reached out, their sympathy both comforting and suffocating. I preferred solitude, where I could pretend that Liam was just out with friends and would burst through the door any moment. One night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, I heard a faint thud from the living room. My heart quickened. Probably just the building settling, I told myself. But then came another sound, a soft rustling, like pages turning. I sat up, straining to listen. Silence. Shaking my head, I chalked it up to exhaustion. The next morning, a book lay open on the coffee table. It was Liam's favorite novel, one he'd read countless times. I frowned, certain I'd left it on the bookshelf. Perhaps I was mistaken. I closed the book and returned it to its place. That evening, fatigue pressed heavy on me. As I prepared for bed, I noticed the book back on the coffee table, open to the same page. A chill crept up my spine. I stood there, staring at it, rationality warring with an unsettling feeling. Deciding I'd had enough, I placed the book in a drawer. Sleep came fitfully. Dreams of shadowy figures and whispered words plagued me. At 3:14 a.m., I jolted awake to the sound of Liam's laughter, faint but unmistakable. My heart pounded as I sat up, ears straining. Silence enveloped the room. I rubbed my eyes, convincing myself it was a dream. Over the next few days, the occurrences escalated. The aroma of Liam's cologne would waft through the apartment unexpectedly. Lights flickered without reason. I found his sneakers by the front door, laces undone, the way he always left them. I hadn't moved them since he'd passed. I confided in my best friend, Rachel. Over coffee, I recounted the incidents, expecting her to dismiss them. "Maybe it's grief playing tricks on you," she suggested gently. "Our minds can do that." "Maybe," I conceded, though doubt gnawed at me. That night, determined to find answers, I set up my phone to record the living room. I needed proof, either to validate my experiences or to lay them to rest. I positioned the camera, ensuring it had a clear view, and went to bed. Morning couldn't come fast enough. With shaky hands, I scrolled through the footage. For hours, nothing happened. Then, at precisely 3:14 a.m., the screen flickered. Static obscured the image for a moment. When it cleared, a faint silhouette stood near the bookshelf. My breath caught. The figure reached out, touching the spines of books before turning toward the camera. Though blurred, the shape was eerily familiar. I dropped the phone, disbelief washing over me. Picking it up again, I replayed the segment multiple times. There was no denying it. Someone or something had been there. I decided to visit a local psychic, an older woman named Elena who came highly recommended. Desperation overrode skepticism. Elena's shop was tucked between a bakery and a florist, the scent of incense greeting me as I entered. Beaded curtains parted to reveal a cozy room adorned with crystals and faded tapestries. "How can I help you?" she asked, her eyes sharp yet kind. I hesitated before explaining everything, the noises, the moved objects, the video. She listened without interruption. When I finished, she nodded thoughtfully. Sometimes, spirits linger when they have unfinished business or strong attachments. "Do you think it's Liam?" I asked, hope and fear entwined. "It's possible," she replied. "Would you like to try contacting him?" I agreed, and she led me to a small table draped in deep purple cloth. A single candle flickered at the center. We sat across from each other, hands resting on the table's surface. "Close your eyes," Elena instructed. "Focus on your brother, his face, his voice, the energy he carried." I did as told, memories flooding back. Liam's crooked smile, his infectious laugh, the way he always knew how to cheer me up. Elena began to hum softly, a melodic chant that resonated in the quiet room. Minutes passed, or perhaps hours. Time seemed irrelevant. Suddenly, a cold breeze brushed my cheek. I opened my eyes to see the candle's flame dancing wildly. "He's here," Elena whispered. My heart raced. "Liam," I called softly. A faint whisper echoed, barely audible. "I'm sorry." Tears blurred my vision. "Why are you here?" I asked. Elena's eyes were closed, her face serene yet concentrated. "He says he can't move on because you're not letting him." "Not letting him?" I repeated, confused. "He feels your grief is anchoring him," she explained gently. Guilt washed over me. "What can I do?" "Let him know it's okay to go," Elena advised. "Give him permission." Taking a shaky breath, I spoke into the air. "Liam, I love you and miss you terribly, but I don't want you to be stuck because of me. It's okay. You can rest now." The candle's flame steadied, the room warming. A sense of peace enveloped me. "He's grateful," Elena said softly. "He wants you to know he'll always be with you." I left the shop feeling lighter, a weight lifted from my shoulders. That night, the apartment was quiet. No sounds, no moved objects. Part of me felt an ache at the finality, but I knew it was for the best. Days turned into weeks. Normalcy crept back in. I began attending a grief support group, finding solace in shared experiences. Work became engaging again, and I reconnected with friends. One afternoon, while cleaning, I found an old journal of Liam's tucked under his mattress. Hesitant yet curious, I opened it. Pages filled with sketches, song lyrics, and musings greeted me. One entry caught my eye, dated a week before his death. "Sometimes I wonder what happens after we go. If there's a way to let those we love know we're okay." Tears welled up as I read his words. Closing the journal, I held it to my chest. "Thank you," I whispered. Life continued its steady pace. I started volunteering at a local youth center, teaching art classes. Something Liam had always encouraged me to do. Felt like a way to honor his memory. One evening, as I walked home, I passed by a music store. A guitar in the window caught my attention. It was the same model Liam had saved up for but never purchased. Impulsively, I went inside. "Interested in the guitar?" the clerk asked. "Yes," I replied, surprising myself. I bought it even though I didn't know how to play. At home, I propped it in the corner, a silent tribute. Occasionally, I'd strum aimlessly, the chords foreign under my fingers. One night, I decided to take lessons. Music had been Liam's passion. Perhaps it could be mine too. Weeks of practice turned into months. The motions became familiar, the sounds less discordant. I felt connected to Liam in a new way, as if continuing a part of his journey. At an open mic event hosted by the youth center, I gathered the courage to perform. Standing on the small stage, I played a song Liam had written but never shared. The notes filled the room, emotions raw and palpable. When I finished, applause erupted. Among the crowd, a man approached me. "That was beautiful," he said. "Did you write it?" "My brother did," I replied. "I'm just playing it for him." "He'd be proud," the man said with a warm smile. We introduced ourselves. His name was Daniel, a musician who volunteered at the center. Conversation flowed easily, and we discovered shared interests beyond music. As weeks passed, Daniel and I grew closer. His presence was comforting, a new chapter unfolding. One afternoon, while organizing old photos, I found a picture of Liam and me at a park. In the background, a younger Daniel played guitar under a tree. Surprised, I showed it to him. "That's me!" he exclaimed, laughing. "What are the odds?" We marveled at the coincidence or perhaps fate. Life had a way of weaving paths together, connections unseen yet profound. I felt Liam's influence, subtle yet persistent, guiding me toward healing and happiness. Years later, as I stood on that same stage, now a regular performer, I spoke to the audience. "This song is for someone who taught me that love transcends even the greatest loss." Strumming the familiar chords, I felt a presence beside me. A warmth, a memory, a brother's love enduring. The seasons cycled through their rhythms, each bringing new experiences. Daniel and I moved in together, our shared apartment filled with laughter and music. The shadows of the past lingered but no longer loomed. They were gentle reminders of where we'd been and how far we'd come. One rainy evening, Daniel suggested we visit an art exhibit downtown. "It's a showcase of local artists," he said. "I think you'll enjoy it." We strolled through the gallery, admiring paintings and sculptures. One piece caught my eye, a canvas swirled with blues and grays, depicting a figure standing at a crossroads. The title read, "Echoes of Tomorrow." Something about it resonated deeply. "It's beautiful," I murmured. A woman nearby turned toward us. "Thank you," she said. "I'm the artist, Maya." We struck up a conversation, and I found myself sharing my journey of loss and rediscovery. Maya listened intently. "Art has a way of reflecting our inner landscapes," she mused. Before we left, she handed me a small envelope. "Come to this address tomorrow evening," she invited. "I think you'll find it intriguing." Curiosity piqued, Daniel and I agreed. The next day, we arrived at an old building nestled between modern skyscrapers. Inside, a group of people milled about, instruments and canvases scattered around. "Welcome to the collective," Maya greeted us. "We're a community of artists who believe in the healing power of creativity." We spent the evening immersed in music, art, and stories. It was a haven of expression, a place where emotions were transformed into beauty. Over time, I became an active member, teaching workshops and collaborating on projects. One initiative involved bringing art programs to hospitals, offering patients an outlet for their experiences. During one such visit, I met a teenage girl named Lily. Thin and pale, she sat by the window sketching. "Mind if I join you?" I asked. She glanced up, eyes wary but curious. Sure. We chatted as she drew, her talent evident. Your work is incredible, I praised. She shrugged. It's just something to pass the time. As weeks went by, I learned that Lily was battling a chronic illness. Art was her escape, much like it had become mine. One afternoon, she confided, "Sometimes I feel invisible, like the world moves on without me." I empathized deeply. I felt that way after my brother died, I shared. But I learned that creating helps make sense of the chaos. She looked thoughtful. Maybe there's more I can do. Together, we organized a hospital art exhibit, showcasing patients' work. The event was a success, bringing joy and a sense of purpose to many. Lily's condition improved, and she became an inspiration to others. Watching her thrive, I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Meanwhile, Daniel's music career flourished. He signed with an independent label, his songs echoing with sincerity and depth. We supported each other's passions, our lives intertwining harmoniously. One night, as we relaxed on the balcony overlooking the city lights, Daniel turned to me. "I've been thinking," he began, "about how everything led us here." I smiled. "Me too. It's like the pieces finally fit." He took my hand. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Emotion welled up. "Are you proposing?" I teased gently. He grinned. "Yes, I suppose I am. Will you marry me?" "Absolutely," I replied, joy bubbling over. Our wedding was a celebration of love and creativity. Held at the collective space, it was filled with art, music, and the people who would become our family. As we danced, I felt a whisper of presence, a familiar warmth. In my mind, I imagined Liam smiling, his blessing encompassing us. Life, with all its twists and turns, had brought me to a place of peace and happiness I hadn't thought possible. Married life unfolded with its own rhythm. Daniel and I purchased a small house on the outskirts of the city, surrounded by trees and open skies. It was a haven where creativity flourished. One morning, while unpacking boxes, I found an old cassette tape labeled for Emma. It was in Liam's handwriting. My heart skipped a beat. "Daniel, look at this," I called. He joined me, peering at the tape. "Have you listened to it before?" "I didn't even know it existed." We located an old player and inserted the tape. Static crackled before Liam's voice emerged, clear and melodic. "Hey sis, if you're listening to this, it means I finally got the nerve to share my songs with you." He began to sing, a soulful melody filled with longing and hope. Tears streamed down my face as his voice enveloped us. When the song ended, he added, "Remember, no matter where life takes us, music will always connect us." I clutched the player, emotions swirling. "I can't believe I never found this before." Daniel put an arm around me. "It's like he's here with us." An idea sparked. "We should record this professionally," I suggested. "Share his music with the world." Daniel nodded enthusiastically. "Let's do it." We collaborated on producing the song, enlisting the help of friends from the collective. The final version was hauntingly beautiful, a tribute to Liam's talent. Upon release, the song resonated with many, its authenticity striking a chord. Messages poured in from people touched by the music, sharing their own stories of loss and healing. The success of the song led to a project compiling works from artists who had passed, brought to life by loved ones. It became a movement celebrating creativity beyond life. Amidst these endeavors, Daniel and I decided to start a family. Soon, we welcomed a baby girl, whom we named Lila. a nod to Liam's influence and Lily's friendship. Holding Lila in my arms, I felt a profound connection across generations. The cycle of life, with its joys and sorrows, continued, but now I faced it with gratitude and resilience. One evening, as I rocked Lila to sleep, humming the melody Liam had recorded, I felt at peace. The past had shaped me, but it no longer bound me.